CNBC TV18 Weekender, only on CNBC TV18.
Hello and welcome. I'm Kritika Saxena. Welcome to CNBC TV18 Weekender. I'm coming to you from the L&T Infotech campus in Mumbai. My guest for today is Sanjay Jalona. Sanjay has been steering L&T Infotech since 2015 when he joined the company from Infosys as the Chief Executive Officer of L&T Infotech. It's been a very interesting journey for Sanjay. He was instrumental in leading the company to its next big turnaround. There's a lot to talk about today, including how Sanjay went through the entire listing process of L&T Infotech. What makes Sanjay tick? What makes him think that L&T Infotech is the next big bet in the Indian IT sector? What lies forward for Sanjay and the company? Lots to talk about. Let's go in. Sanjay, thank you for waiting for me.
Hi Kritika,
Hello.
welcome to LTI.
Good to see you. Yes, we are finally doing this.
Yeah.
You know, Sanjay, I think I met you for the first time in 2015 when
right.
you came on board. And since then till date, this is the first time we are actually doing something more relaxed, not talking about, you know, just the earnings.
It's good. Yeah, good.
Yeah?
Not to talk about numbers for a change.
How positive are you about the environment that the Indian IT sector is seeing?
I think Indian IT industry is doing pretty well now. And while there has been a lot written about the death of the IT industry many times over.
Seriously, yeah. In fact, since 2015 till date, the time that you were steering the company right after L&T Infotech was probably the worst time when people were talking about, you know, how IT is no longer the big growth driver, the big employment creator. And you were one of the architects that said that that's not true.
I still maintain that. I think there's tremendous opportunity in the marketplace. The way technology is disrupting, innovating and changing the various businesses, there is so much to do. And you have seen how Indian IT industry has rebounded many times over. Yeah. Right? Y2K time, there's a lot written. Then cloud came, there's a lot written. Now you look at digital technologies, exponential technologies, people talk about the death of IT industry, but this industry has a way of rebounding very quickly.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing today. I have always maintained that there is so much business to be had. If you have the right customers, if you have the right people talking that business, if you focus on a few things, there's a lot more that can be done.
Okay. So, you know, Sanjay, very immediately, as we are entering into FY19, you seem to be confident. Last 2-3 quarters, if I've heard you correctly, you've been very bullish about the kind of growth that you are going to see and the Indian IT will see. From your perspective, will FY19 be better than FY18 from L&T Infotech?
Definitely from LTI's perspective, we will see continued growth. We had FY17, we had around 10% growth, FY18 was around 17% growth. Where we sit today, we still have a few quarters to go, but we are very confident that the growth will continue.
Okay.
So we are quite positive, and you're seeing a rebound in the IT industry overall here.
Yeah. And you know, if I were to talk about your performance specifically, digital has touched 34% of your revenues, and that's one of the highest in the industry. How is the outlook now? You know, in terms of order book, in terms of the size of deals that you're seeing. How huge is it?
There are all kinds of deals that are happening in the marketplace. We see if you have something differentiated to offer, customers have a way of finding the money to actually execute on that. So we are seeing large deals happen. We announced one large deal with a global pharma company last quarter. We have closed one deal which we'll announce a little later on as well in this quarter. So there are lots of opportunities in the marketplace. There are fundamentally 4 things that the customer are doing. They're looking at new ways to connect with consumers like you and I, because we do our businesses very differently than what we used to do in the past. They're looking at ways to improve the employee productivity. So how do you collaborate and improve the employee productivity in the organization? And it's not only technology company, it's the aircraft manufacturers, auto manufacturers. How do you drive up more productivity improvement? There's so much of robotics and automation that is going on there.
Yeah.
Third thing is, how do you use new technologies to do, you know, supply chain differently, using blockchain in a variety of use cases. And finally, using technologies like IoT, etc., to do operations. So, you know, from the traditional technology business in the past, today it's got a much wider canvas for technology companies to play. So that's why I believe why the old traditional IT spend might have gone down. I think the breadth of opportunities across gives a great opportunity for IT companies in India.
You know, Sanjay, with Trump's tax cuts and the kind of reforms that he is looking at specific to the US, let's not get into the visa aspect of it. Do you think that the clients that you're working with, especially in North America, financial services clients, who had kind of hit the pause button, do you think they have more confidence now to be able to spend on discretionary spending?
I think that's what we are seeing. We are seeing a lot of discretionary spend come up there. Tax reforms have helped the companies. The companies are performing a lot better. Everyone's revenues and profitable growth is happening. So they are definitely finding newer ways to connect with the customer, keep the regulatory pressures on, spend a lot of money on analytics and so on and so forth. So I think there is a lot of positivity in the industry overall. And this is across the verticals.
You are not worried about the increasing visa costs. We spoke about 2 years ago and you said that that's a reality. You have to hire locally, and that's just the fact of how things are right now. Has that increased any amount of pressure on margins?
No, I think, look, there are things which one can control and there are things that one cannot control.
There's no point in
visa cost is going to hit equally everyone. I cannot control that. I can hire locally people. I can do more offshoring.
And you have increased.
Yeah, I've increased a lot of people hiring on site. I have also, our offshore ratios have improved. So you reduce your dependency, be the first one to go and hire good talent. That's the only way to deal with it. Okay. And that's what we're doing.
So you're at margins of almost 17.7%. That was your estimated target when we spoke for the first time when you were listing. What's the next target that you're looking at? Given the kind of discretionary investments that have gone into digital, what's the next target for margins?
See, we want to keep the margin at the band that we are in and focus on, and when you grow fast, you have additional margins that come into your kitty. We want to invest it all back into the business and grow faster. Our whole target has been keep the margin where they are. We are a growth company. People should look at us as a growth company. We want to push everything onto growth, whether it's acquisition, whether it's building capabilities, all that, hiring right sets of people, that's more important to me.
Okay, before we take a break, you spoke about acquisition. What's the next big target, Sanjay, for you? You made very interesting acquisitions till date. What specifically are you looking at? Would mid-cap IT companies interest you? Would it be scale, or would it be specific skill sets or specific product-driven IPs that will interest you?
Look, you never say never in an acquisition, but typically my mind is that we want to acquire for capabilities rather for size, right? In today's world, customers are not hiring you for scale. Customers are hiring you for expertise and capabilities. And that makes us move towards hiring companies with strong capabilities. They typically will be smaller companies. That's what you have seen us do. We have done 2 acquisitions in the last couple of years. But if the right opportunity comes, size should not be a problem. We have a strong support.
You will not shy away from making a big
not.
bet.
Absolutely not.
Welcome back. We still have Sanjay with us, and there's a lot more to talk about. Sanjay, we spoke shop. We talked about how the IT industry is headed. You know, I want to ask you about your journey. When I first met you, it was 2015. You were just taking over a company at that point after a completely different culture. Infosys had its own set of, the culture was completely different. You shifted base entirely, and you took the company to the level that it needed to go to look at the listing. The listing, I remember, I used to talk about it for almost 10 years till it actually happened. How has the journey been for you?
Oh, it's been a wonderful, wonderful journey. Look, there were such preconceived notions in everybody's mind, including mine, before I came on what LTI was and what it had, and so on and so forth. But frankly, where I sit today has been a hidden gem for the industry for many, many years. What I found was such a rich culture of vertical knowledge. When all my life, I've done nothing else but IT services. All my life, we've talked about vertical capabilities, domain specialization. But really, when you come here, you see the verticals that we operate in, the depth is really, really deep. So it's been an exciting, exciting journey for us.
Do you remember when you first got the offer, or how did you feel when you were first told that you're going to be the CEO? What were the thoughts in your mind, be it apprehensions, be it perhaps jubilation as well?
So Kritika, never easy to leave any company,
Yeah.
right? And
You were with Infosys for a long time.
I was there for 15 years,
Yeah.
learned a lot there. Great iconic company, and it was not an easy decision, right? I had a very large business. I was running literally 23-24% of the company. Yeah.
Exactly.
Much larger than LTI.
Yeah.
But there comes a time in everyone's life where you say, what next?
Yeah.
And it's not easy to say no to meeting Mr. Naik, right? So that's the first hook, right?
So you were told that Mr. Naik wants to meet you.
Yeah, Mr. Naik wants to meet me. Otherwise, you know.
And what was your first experience meeting?
No, but it was great meeting him. Yeah, he's something special.
You know, Mr. Naik has a very different style of working,
Yeah.
and it's not like regular chairman, any other promoter. He has a very professional, yet very austere, yet very loving side of working, from what I hear. How was it initially when you started working with him?
You know, there are things that you need to get used to it, right? It's never easy because his expectations is very, very high.
Yeah.
We are always running to meet up to that expectation, and I think a sign of a great leader is that he is never happy with the performance. I think he was very happy when we touched $1 billion.
Yes,
He was very happy when he saw that we are growing faster than most of the people. But you know what I've learned from him the maximum is you have to have a big heart. You know, despite whatever you see of him and how tough he is, he has a heart of a lion, right? So that's very important in business.
Okay. So 2015 till date, what's the one big challenge that you think you've been able to overcome? As a CEO, as a person as well, you know, sometimes we have to overcome our own demons or insecurities or our own reservations about ourselves and the way we work. What is the one thing that you've had to overcome?
Oh, many things. I think it's this is my first CEO job, right? So being a CEO means many different things to different people. I had to create an identity for myself. What will be Sanjay Jalona as a CEO?
Yeah.
Will he be, you know, micromanaging everything? Will he run things differently? I had to create something for myself.
Yeah.
And create a culture. And you need to lead by example,
Exactly.
right? And that is the most difficult thing. It's
Yeah.
very difficult for somebody like me to actually give up and say, okay, I'll let people make their mistakes, I'll let people run. And that is something I had to learn.
You know, Sanjay, when the listing happened, when you would come on the company, there were years and years of, you know, what's going to happen to L&T Infotech? Is it going to be sold off? Is it going to be merged with L&T Technologies? Then there were two different listings happening. There's a lot of question about sustainability, a lot of question about what the growth really will be. How was it at that point to be a CEO for just a few years and actually handle that period? Was it difficult for you?
I think there were a lot of doubting toms, so to speak. Right? People had a lot of doubts, a lot of apprehensions. Employees also did not have the clarity, but I think it's very clear in everybody's mind today. It was very clear when I had the same questions of Mr. Naik before I joined. And I think it was very clear to me that Larsen LTI is going to be critical for Larsen & Toubro as a group. Services industry, the business has to grow, and LTI has to be the torchbearer of that business. So that part was very easy. The difficult part was to telling the story on who we are. What is our identity
At
under
a
the
time
sun?
when it was still growing, when the identity was still growing.
Identity was important. For us, we had to create an identity for us and say, look, this is our place in the sun. This is who we will be. This is what we mean to the customers, the employees, the shareholders, as well as the society at large. And that articulation and then actually doing something about that was very important.
Sanjay, you know, we spoke about your journey till date. Tell me, how did your life change personally when you took over as a CEO? How little time how badly was your time affected with family then?
This is, you know, obviously the responsibility takes away a lot of time.
Yeah.
But it's not the quantity, but the quality of time that is very important at times.
Yeah.
Yes, it requires me to travel a lot more.
Exactly.
There's a lot more public scrutiny of what we do, how we...
Absolutely.
You know,
And you
how
have to
much-
be that much more careful then.
You have to be that much more careful. The family has to be a little responsive to that as well. But, you know, I've always managed to find time for family. You know, sometimes you get lucky. I got lucky 20 plus years back when we got married. Wife's been very patient. She has seen ups and downs. And, you know, it's a humbling experience to come back after all the hubbub at work
Yeah.
to just be grounded and
Yeah.
sit peacefully at home. So it's all good.
They say that humility is the one thing that keeps you going through tough times, or or even through success. Sometimes you have to hold on to that. What is it that gives you that ground? What is it that gives you that humility?
I think it has to be the parents. Came from a lower middle class home. The ordeals and the troubles and the ideals that were imbibed in us as two brothers when we were growing up. We didn't have much to go by. And but the parents spent all their savings in education. That's where you start your grounding exercise. So parents had a lot of influence. Then as I said, wife Parul had a tremendous influence on where we are today. And the friends, right? The people that I've worked with. One becomes based on the experiences that one has, right? There are many bright people, but you come in contact with some wonderful people, and there's something to learn from everyone, and that's been good to us as well.
So how do you balance life then? When you have to handle work and family and your own personal space, your own sanity, your hobbies, how do you balance it out? What's the big mantra there?
A few things. There's a lot written and a lot said about work-life balance, right?
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's work-life balance. I think about it as choices that people make. You need to spend time everywhere, but if you want to be a good leader, it helps you make a good dad. If you want to be a good husband, it helps you make a good leader. So definitely you need to draw a balance and make some choices in life. But my urge and nudge to the youngsters have always been, I have become what I have experienced in life. I was the first one to raise my hand, even not knowing what I was raising the hand for. So you work very hard, and there is a time to make those choices in life all the time.
Yeah.
And if you can imagine, you will become.
Okay, if you can imagine, you can become. Okay. So Sanjay, we are going to now go into a quick segment which we call rapid fire.
Okay.
Where I ask you the question, then you say the first thing that comes to your mind. Yes?
Okay.
Okay, so your time starts now. Your favorite actress?
Actress?
Bollywood, Hollywood.
Alia Bhatt.
Okay, actor?
Amir Khan.
Your favorite movie of all time?
Casablanca.
And in India, Bollywood?
I have very many. I still remember Sholay very fondly. I must have watched it 100 times.
Yeah. Your favorite holiday spot? Either something you've been to or something you aspire going to?
Somewhere in Europe, some of the quaint cities, Istanbul or even Morocco, not in Europe, but Africa, yeah.
Okay. How often do you travel? How necessary is travel to you?
For work, very necessary.
All the time.
All the time. But I typically spend the December last week on a nice quiet place, unwind and relax.
Okay. Your biggest achievement till date?
Yet to come.
And your biggest regret?
No regrets at all.
No regrets?
You don't live for regrets. There are many things you can do well, right? Much better than what you did. And you always think you can, but I have no regrets at all.
The one thing you've learned from your parents?
My mother always said, I'm going to use it in Hindi. इज्जत बड़ी मुश्किल से आती है, but it goes away in a blink.
True.
So it's very hard to get respect, and it's very easy to lose it.
Your one mantra that you have learned from a teacher, from a mentor, one mantra that has stood you through tough times?
Work hard.
Who is the one mentor that you aspire to be, or you're a tech visionary that you're fond of?
Tech visionary, I think a few people can surpass what Apple did, and Steve Jobs, and what Elon Musk has done in various fields that he has ventured in.
Yeah.
But, I don't have one mentor, right? So obviously, as I said, I look up to Mr. A.M. Nayak. But, one becomes based on the experience that one has had. You learn from your teacher. I'm still in touch with some of my school teachers. Then you learn from the first bosses that I had, and I'm lucky enough that lots of them have been mentors, been guides, and today have become very good friends.
Okay. The one thing that you learned from your experience at Infosys?
Be with the best.
Okay. As you go ahead, what do you think is going to be the next big challenge for you? What's the next big leap for Sanjay Jalona and L&T Infotech as well?
Never be complacent. Keep dreaming.
Okay. Yeah, what do you do in your free time, Sanjay? Your hobbies?
Spend a lot of time with children because I
Okay.
travel a lot, so I don't get to spend enough time with children. Watch movies. 3 times or 4 times in a year, I'll get to play golf.
3 times or 4 times in a year, that's all.
Yeah, sometimes you get lucky, so you have a fifth round. But yeah,
If you weren't a tech, if you weren't in the tech world, if you weren't a software person, what would you have been?
cook.
Really?
Yeah,
Do you cook?
little bit.
Okay.
Little bit. I like to cook.
Anything special that you cook?
Oh, I lived for a long time in South India, so I really can cook a lot of South Indian dishes.
Hence the filter coffee.
Hence the filter coffee
Filter
as well.
coffee is the one big innovation in L&T Infotech that has influenced
Yeah,
everyone,
that
is
is
it?
true.
Thank you so much, Sanjay. It's been a pleasure to talk to you,
Thank you,
and
Kritika.
good luck for what lies ahead and the journey of that L&T Infotech still has to take right now.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks a lot. That was Sanjay Jalona. A lot of insight into what lies ahead for Sanjay, what lies ahead for L&T Infotech. A lot of very interesting tidbits, especially knowing that Sanjay could have been a cook if not a tech visionary or a CEO. Thank you so much for watching this special show.
CNBC TV18 Weekender, only on CNBC TV18.